Hello my friends, so I've been playing Chucky in Dead by Daylight for a long time today. This killer is very unique and I love to hear his voice lines, but I don't get it when he says this.
I'm gonna smash you!
Does he want to smash me? Is he homosexual?
Sticking out your gap where there is love. You're so skibbity, you're so phantom tax. I just wanna be your Sigma.
But I don't like that the first person perspective for this killer is not an option, and even though I appreciate developers trying something new, I don't like third person perspective as much as I would like if this killer was playable in the first person perspective. Now I already made a video about it, and that video got a lot of dislikes, and when I say that video got a lot of dislikes, I really mean
a lot of dislikes.
And in the comments, people were telling me how wrong I am and how good Chucky in third person perspective really is. Now I want to make it clear that this is my YouTube channel and everybody has their personal opinions. To have a personal opinion on something, it's a human right. And I just like to make my opinions known to people on my YouTube channel. And one of those thoughts is that the first person perspective for Chucky would be better. Now I understand why they decided to go with the third person perspective, because Chucky is the shortest killer in the game, so playing him in the first person perspective would be incredibly difficult task, especially on the maps with a lot of grass like Coldwind Farm and Macmillan Estate for example. You would not be able to spot survivors because of the grass. But I think that first person perspective for this killer would be more immersive, it would be more movie accurate, and also wouldn't it be cool to play as the shortest killer in Dead by Daylight and just like be all immersed in the game thinking, oh my god, I can't spot a survivor, oh I see some survivor, boom boom boom, and then you come shot. I'm just kidding. Okay, that's enough of talking about Chucky. In this video, I'm gonna talk about my crazy theory that third person perspective might be coming to the game for every single killer. Like imagine playing as the trapper in a third person. Now, not everybody will like this, but this might happen, so let's talk about it. But before that, smack that subscribe button or I will smack your mom's butt. Also, make sure to join my Discord server, because over there we talk a lot about vaginal penetration and sometimes we all masturbate together. So if you are interested, the link is in the description. Okay my friends, so before Chucky there was no other killer playable in a third person perspective. In the past, before Dead by Daylight was released to the audience, developers had tested killer in Dead by Daylight being playable in both first person and third person perspectives. They also tested survivors being playable in both perspectives, and after testing all of the different perspectives on both roles, developers came to a conclusion that Dead by Daylight is best when survivors play in a third person perspective and when killers play in a first person perspective. That's DBD as we know it. So many years ago, developers themselves said that third person perspective for killers is not even a debate, it just won't happen. But they also said that DBD would never get a clown killer, and we got a clown killer. They also said that we would never get a monster creature, and we got the Demogorgon and the Singularity. Not only that, but developers also had mentioned that Chucky will most likely never come into Dead by Daylight because of his size. And not only did we end up getting Chucky, but also he's playable in a third person perspective. What I mean is that Behavior is changing as a company, and promises that they made years ago are turning into ashes. Right now Behavior is bigger than ever before, and they are capable of obtaining bigger licenses than most of you can imagine. And we should be extremely happy about this, because one of the promises that Behavior made in the past was that they told us that Dead by by Daylight won't get another game mode because it would split their player base. And guess what? Years later, they are considering the possibility of giving us a new game mode. Finally. Not only that, but Behaviour, which is a company behind Dead by Daylight, they love to secretly test new mechanics. They had tested the new skill-based matchmaking system and MMR system without warning us about it. They just secretly turned it on. I remember the day when they, out of a thin air, just simply removed Bloodlust for testing purposes. So Behaviour likes to mess with us when we don't expect it. And considering that Chucky is the first killer ever to come into Dead by Daylight that is playable only in a third-person perspective, I think that developers took Chucky as an experimental killer for the third-person perspective. They want to see how we react to the killer being only playable in a third-person perspective. Do we like it? Do we not? What are the benefits? Does it give the killer much of an advantage? Because technically it should. And I think that they will take all of these things into consideration, and not only now there's a possibility that the next killer will be playable in a third-person perspective, but also there's a possibility that in the future Behaviour will make perspectives optional, meaning that in the future you might be able to switch between Chucky being playable in a first-person and in a third-person perspective, similarly to a GTA 5 game where you can just click one button and your character's perspective will change. Now, I'm not saying that this will happen, and I'm not saying that this will be good for the game, but what I'm saying is that this is something that came to my head as soon as I saw that Chucky is a third-person perspective kind of a killer. It's something that came to my head, so this video is completely my genius idea, and I think that some characters like the nurse, for example, should never be playable in a third-person perspective, because that would be too OP. She is strong in a first-person perspective. I think that she's not too strong, meaning that, you know, there's a bit of a balance in Dead by Daylight. Like, nobody's really complaining about the nurse as much as people used to complain in the past, but she doesn't need much of a change, and I really hope that she stays playable in a first-person perspective only as she is right now. Similar to Michael Myers, I hope that Michael Myers will not be playable in a third-person perspective, but other than that, I think that it would be cool to experience something new in Dead by Daylight. Even though I don't like that Chucky is playable only in a third-person perspective, I really fuck with the Chucky, and I really like a lot of stuff about Chucky. I think this is one of the best chapters we have ever received. I love Child's Play. I'm happy that Chucky's here, and I'm gonna go and play more of Chucky. Yeah, I'm very, very optimistic now about all of Dead by Daylight. Don't forget to subscribe for more Dead by Daylight videos, comment your opinion, and I will see you later.